I often get this question when I'm doing lives on TikTok or sometimes Instagram. People are asking me of who is a sterile processor. A sterile processor, also known as a sterile processing technician, is a medical professional who cleans, inspects, sterilizes medical instruments and equipment that are used in surgical procedures. And with this comes knowledge of how to manage these equipment and instruments that are used in surgical procedures. We've come a very long way in sterile processing where medical instrumentations have become so advanced in the sense that nowadays we use robotic surgeries where surgical procedures are performed miles away, even when the surgeon is not within the room. Surgical procedures are performed by surgeons. They are usually assisted by nurses and also by surgical techs who assist also in handling the surgical instruments that are needed by these surgeons. They are also assisted by surgical techs who give them medical instruments that are used for specialized procedures. When these instruments are used in surgical procedures, 98% of these instruments are often reusable, and that's where central service technicians step in. We come into the process of reprocessing reusable medical instruments and the disposal of single-use medical devices. In order to properly clean surgical instruments, it requires so many components, so many factors, and most of what we use are already validated by manufacturers, by the detergent manufacturers who are authorized by the FDA and environmental protection agencies for us to use the right type of detergent in order to render these instruments clean for surgical procedures. Knowing what to use for medical devices and how to clean them to render them safe for inspection before they're assembled by sterile processing technicians are all gathered from information provided by manufacturers. We have tools for sterilization and preparation of medical devices. One of the most important tools that goes unheard of is water. Water is a cleaning tool that is used for surgical instruments. And in order for us to use water for surgical instruments, water has to be treated. Believe it or not, the tap water that you use at home to wash the dishes and sometimes to do laundry are usually hard water that is provided by the city or the county. For surgical purposes, and when it comes to instrument cleaning purposes, we have to have treated water to be used for the manufacturer instruction. We need treated water in order to rinse out our surgical instrument, excuse the kids outside. And in order to use this treated water, it has to be provided by some filtration system that is purchased from an outside vendor in order for a medical facility to render instruments clean, because according to manufacturer instruction, you final rinse of instrument after the soak intermediate rinse. Our final rinse are usually recommended to using treated water, whether it's deionized water, whether it's reverse osmosis water, but it should be treated water to be free of microbes and salts that might form sediments after we clean our instruments. With this said, we place more emphasis on critical devices when it comes to critical water. What brings up this topic of water cleanliness is now FGNA and FDA are moving more towards testing water quality, not only for critical water, but also at the micro level. Now and going in the future, if you're not prepared, we are going to start testing our water based on the microorganisms present in the water, especially with respect to semi-critical devices that are not usually all the time sterilized. The minimum sterilization or disinfection requirement for a semi-critical device, those will be medical devices that does not enter into the bloodstream of a patient, will require a high level disinfection. And when we high level disinfect semi-critical devices, it doesn't equal sterilization, because sterilization is the absence of any microbial life on the device, whereas high level disinfection gets rid of some bacteria but not all spores. And in order to render our semi-critical devices prepared for use, we need to have water, critical water, and also water that are free of microorganisms, so these microorganisms do not affect the patient pathogenically. We also, going forward, will have to test water for cleanliness free of microbes that might render a patient sick after its use. And this might be a new challenge for central service technician, as I was speaking with my infection control yesterday. we were discussing on how to go about setting up and getting the awareness for technicians to be aware that going forward, it's not just the testing of critical water, how often you test that your water is soft enough to do a final rinse of the medical devices. We also have to have outside agency coming into a medical facility to test the microbial level of our water to make sure that it's free of pathogens or microorganisms that might cause harm to patient or cause any illness. Water quality is very important, especially when it comes to medical instruments and equipment, and it's up to us sterile processing technicians and the medical facilities that we work within to ensure that the water quality is right for reprocessing our medical device. Because the challenges with just removing bioburden from the instruments is not end of the road when it comes to cleaning medical devices. This is just an information that I want to share with current sterile processing technician or upcoming technicians who might be in the medical field, because you might be tasked with the testing of water quality at your facility. We might come across test strips that will be produced in the future, not just to test hot water, but test on a microbial level for the presence of microorganisms within our final rinse water, which will be treated water. We first had a challenge of making the water safe for use, to be treated free of solids. Now we have the next step in the next couple of years to come to actually have water treated on the microbial level. I hope this helps, and if you have any question, you can leave it in the comment section under my YouTube channel, or if you're watching this on TikTok or Instagram. This is just an educational piece for sterile processing technician and prospective sterile processing technician. Watch out for the website and on the link in my bio for classes coming up in sterile processing. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you. Peace.